Hey everybody, it's Thomas at Get Out Arizona, and you're watching another great episode of Garage Talk, so let's get on it. Now today I'm going to be giving you my long-term review of the Skydio 2 Plus drone. Now, when I say long-term review, I mean 12 months, coming up on 12 months. I originally purchased this in mid-May of last year, and since we're at the beginning of May, it's just about 12 months. I've put this through everything as far as the desert regional parks here in the valley, up north in Sedona and parts of Flagstaff. It's followed me while I've been mountain biking, hiking, backpacking, four-wheel driving. This thing has been amazing every step of the way, with some caveats. Now, this is not a sponsored review. Skydio did not pay me to do this review, nor do they have any input on this review whatsoever. I've purchased the drone and accessories with my own money, so you know I'm going to be giving you my unadulterated opinion, as I normally do, regardless of circumstance. Now, if you're looking for a review that has to do with the deep dive into settings or menu functionality, this isn't it. I'm going to leave a link down below to Billy Kyle, who actually did a really great review on this concerning those items last year, which includes flying it with the remote, as well as keyframing, which this drone does do. I've only done it twice just to see how it worked, and other than that, it's been tracking me every step of the way using the beacon and the phone, which again we'll get into in just a minute. Now, the kit, when I purchased this, I purchased it with the beacon, all right, and 2 batteries. And I'm going to have the price here off to the side someplace because it's been so long I can't remember what it was. I think it was like $10.99. Now since then I've bought additional batteries as needed, and those batteries realistically, depending on conditions, and when I say conditions as far as heat, cold, and wind, and actually am I having it rotate around me, do the orbit, or am I just having it track me, lasts me anywhere from realistically 20 to 30 minutes. The time it lasted me 30 minutes, I was quite shocked, but I'd say on average somewhere between 20 and 25. I've always been very impressed with the flight time, and just as a rule of thumb, I figure each one of these is going to give me about 20 minutes, and so that's how I time the flight as far as what I want to do and what I want to capture. Now this will capture in 4K 60, which I use, and I do not use the vivid color profile. I use the regular standard profile and add contrast to taste. I feel I get the most realistic colors and representation of my environment by doing this. The vivid is just a little bit too punchy to me. Not saying it's bad, that's just my preference. So if you want to use vivid and not worry about color grading, you're more than welcome to. I think you'll be satisfied, but for me, it's standard and adding contrast. Now, it does record in H.264. I'm not worried about that. Some people kind of gripe because it's a larger file size, but I'm okay with that because it tends to edit easier, and it actually uses a micro SD card here in the bottom slot, okay? And currently, I use Angel Bird micro SDs. There'll be a link down below for these, and this is a 256 gig one, and it's a V60 Type 2. Can you get away with that standard SanDisk V30? Absolutely, and initially that's what I was using, but I've found that the Angel Bird SD cards tend to be more reliable, and on those trips that I have a butt ton of footage, and yes, that's an actual real word, butt ton, it transfers over to the computer a lot more quickly. And so the extra money between the Angel Bird and the SanDisk is worth it to me. Now, super easy, batteries, you press, you're gonna see how much you have, and hopefully that shows up. These are gonna lock in with a magnet, unlike the DJIs that actually click and lock in. I can honestly say there's never been a time where the battery has become separated from the drone itself. And then from there, you put up the antenna, you press and you hold, and then it's going to start to flash blue, okay? And it's here at this point that after it gets done flashing blue, it's going to go to a solid blue profile. And from here, you can actually link it to your beacon and then the beacon to the phone. Now, the app is actually quite intuitive. I haven't had any issues with it. There was only one time that there was an issue, and that was due to a firmware update, all right? It just couldn't quite do it. I'm not going to hold this against Skydio because there's other companies that have had similar problems pushing firmware updates. So now, as we can see, its gimbal's done its thing. It's solid blue, and I am going to open up the Skydio app on my phone. And as you can see, it's going to ask me to connect. And then from here, I'm going to hit connect, and then it's going to say, do I want to join the Wi-Fi network? I'm going to hit join, and I actually did this the wrong way. I should have turned on my beacon first, but it's going to join, and I'm going to kind of give you just an example. So now it's saying that it's connected. I'm going to hit done. It says it's ready to fly, and now you can see it's showing everything in front of the screen here. Now, if I were to actually take off here in the garage, which I'm not going to, and it's even telling me that I'm in an unsafe spot to launch, the screen would give me a display that's going to show exactly what it's doing. I have it set to auto record. It would take off. It's going to start auto recording, and then I'm going to see, and I'll cut in. At some point, there's going to be a cut in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I can choose to have the drone follow me to the 12 o'clock, the 6, the 3, and the 9 o'clock position, but I can always do that in the centers, okay, quartering that out. Now I can fly that with the beacon and not the phone app if I want to, but I link the phone through the beacon to give myself better range. Now, when I say better range, that's a relative term. This drone typically doesn't fly any further away than, say, 30 to 50 yards from me at any given time. Again, I'm wanting it to track me and what I'm doing, whether I'm biking or four-wheeling or hiking. And I've found over the last 12 months, that's a pretty good distance for whatever I need it to do. But this beacon is truly the star of the show, because with this beacon, it does not matter if I'm going through trees, if I go, I'm riding on the trail and I pass by some bushes or a large cactus or something like that. This beacon makes sure it stays locked on to me at all times. Now, every once in a while, I'll get beep, I'll get feedback that says that it lost me, but it's still tracking with this. And then it finds me and it locks on 100% again. It actually works extremely well. Now, some of you might be going, well, Thomas, do you hold the beacon in your hand? No, I don't. I actually use a Peak Design capture clip, okay? And I put a Garmin male adapter on the back of here, and I modified a capture clip. Hold, we're gonna kind of cut really quick, and now we're back. I'm going to try to zoom in on this as much as possible. This capture clip is made by Peak Design, and I have capture clips on all my backpacks. So when I'm backpacking, okay, or mountain biking for that matter, I have this in the capture clip, and then I have the beacon locked in, and it sits right there in my chest, so it's unobstructed. The phone itself is held in place by my phone mount on my bike. Now, when I'm four-wheeling, I have an adapter that this locks into on my Tacoma right there by the windshield. So again, it's unobstructed. And then of course, this is in my phone mount as well in my Tacoma. So the entire system that I've constructed actually works pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this battery off right now. There we go, and separate it. The whole system works incredibly well. And again, the only times I've had issues where it's actually lost me, as far as it's not tracking anymore, I've got to stop what I'm doing and go back and, physically use the app so it reacquires me, is when I've had it flying into the sun. So sun's hitting it, it's just that extreme exposure, and it has issues keeping track of me. And even then, it still does a good job out in the open. It's only when I start getting into, again, overhead, trees, forest, I'm riding through stuff, whether it's bushes or large cactus in the regional parks or something like that, or in the morning as the sun's coming up, and there's not a lot of contrast, okay? Then sometimes it has issues, not necessarily locking on, but when I pass through stuff, staying locked on and having to go back and let it reacquire. Now, if I were to sit there and say 100%, 90%, 80%, I would say at least 90%. And that's not being generous, that's being true and accurate. 90% of the time, this is locked onto me without any issues. And that other 10% of the time, either it's using the GPS on this to at least stay with me, or it's just stopped tracking altogether. Now, as I said before, in the failing light of the dawn or the direct sunlight of the high noon day, it's when this drone is at its most vulnerable. These are the two times that I've actually crashed the drone, okay? Now, Skydio says it will not, or not that it won't, but it will have difficulty avoiding anything that's less than a 1/2 inch diameter, okay? And that's pretty small. And the only time I've had any issues, again, that low light in the morning, and I was coming around the curve on a trail and the sun's coming overhead and it caught it, and yeah, sure enough, that bush, those branches were tiny. Clipped it, boom, crashed. The other time was in Sedona, similar thing. The lighting was horrible and it was kind of my fault. I tried to land it and it crashed. Both times I sent it back to Skydio, both times they fixed it for me. I didn't have the extended warranty, and since it was my fault on the crash, it did cost me a little bit of money, but they've always been excellent with customer service, and we'll get to that. Now, other than that, ideal light, the sun is fully up. I'm not going through anything that would be considered risque, less than 1/2 inch diameter. It's worked just fine. Now, I've removed the flight ceiling on this as far as the coming down. So when I'm walking through forest and thick woods and everything like that, I have it tracking right behind me, and it will stay there and it will follow. It does an amazing job. Now, I'm not going to cut in a bunch of footage from old trail videos. You guys can just go to the on-trail section of Get Out Arizona, and anything from the last year that includes a drone tracking me, that was Skydio, all right? It's been amazing. Now, let's talk about some of the shortcomings. I wouldn't say battery life. Battery life is great. I think it's great. You can't fly this drone at night. It tells you in the book you can't fly this drone at night. This drone uses, okay, the 5 cameras that it has, the 5 4K cameras, and this is what it uses to develop a picture. So it's constantly assessing its environment to move around and avoid this. It needs light to do it. So if you were hoping to get this to track you at night, think again, it's not going to. It won't even take off. And there's been a couple times where I've had to wait for that sunrise to get just a little bit more for it to say it's safe to take off, you know, due to lighting conditions, you know, and conversely, sunsets. And all of a sudden it's beeping. I'm like, wait, I got plenty of battery. And it tells me, not enough light, it's going to land. And it gives you that warning and the opportunity to land the drone itself. Would I call this a strike against the drone? No, because I knew this going into purchasing the drone. That was a limitation. And I'm okay with that because any other time it works masterfully. Some of the issues that I've had with this drone had to do with firmware and having that firmware push properly to the drone through the app, and once it's pushed through, it actually working, okay? Now, that has happened twice in 12 months, and I'd say that's still pretty good considering I have issues with Apple all the time and their updates on the iPhone. And then if we count the 2 crashes that I've had, plus 2 other items that were just me not understanding fully, and this was in the beginning, on how to get certain things to work. That means 6 times I've had to contact Skydio customer service. And this is another reason why I believe Skydio is amazing, is their customer service. Every single time I've contacted customer service, I've talked to a person at Skydio, okay? It's not a call center in some far off land. These people at Skydio actually know the drone, because they work for Skydio. There was one time I talked to the head engineer. Dude was awesome, super nice. The gals I've talked to, super nice. Everybody I've talked to, super nice and helpful. Yes, what can we do? I'm gonna send you an email link. follow the instructions, or no, I'm staying on the phone with you to make sure it actually works correctly. There's been a couple times where I've called and they weren't able to answer right away. Okay, leave a message, they call back, all right? That says something. Any company can sell you a product, but a great company backs that product. And I have to say, Skydio has what would be, in my opinion, okay, if I were to put a label on it, award-winning customer service. I've had no issues. Now, I've seen some other reviews on YouTube saying that the drone doesn't track that well, okay, that it doesn't work and it's constantly losing them, and you know, it wasn't worth the money, and so they're sending it back. I honestly don't know what those people are doing wrong. I love this drone. Here in less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Sedona for 5 days, okay? That's 4 hikes and 4 mountain bike rides, and every single one of those I'm going to be using the Skydio to track me. It's become an integral part of my content creation as far as my trail videos. And I even had somebody comment just the other day on how the drone footage has really set that content apart. And I think they're right, where I could just use my Insta360 camera, you know, to show all that stuff, or when I'm vlogging and I'm hiking and everything like that, one of my Sony cameras. But I think the Skydio adds depth and dimension because you can see how far that cliff fall is, that beautiful view out in the distance as I'm driving and four-wheeling to a trail or a spot. And that's just something you can't get with an action camera or even one of my Sony cameras. Now, someone might say, well, Thomas, why don't you fly your DJI Mini 3 Pro? And I would say, right, if I'm going to pilot, I'm going to fly the DJI. If I want to be tracked and I don't want to have to worry about a gosh darn thing, I'm using my Skydio. 6 days a week and twice on Sundays, my friend. This takes the cake. You know, with the DJI, the active track isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Believe me, I've tried it a couple times just to compare. And with that big nasty RC controller that I'd have to mount to my handlebars or mount to my bag or hold in my hand, why the heck do I want to do that? That's inconvenient. So if you're looking for a drone, the bottom line is to track you while you're doing dirt biking, four-wheeling, you're in your ATV sand cart or something along those lines, mountain biking, hiking like I do. I don't think you can go wrong with the Skydio drone. They're constantly doing firmware updates. They're constantly improving and refining the drone's capabilities, okay? And that says something too about a company that is willing to, after more than 14 months of release time on the 2 Plus, continue to innovate with what they have. And I'm telling you, I am super excited to see when Skydio comes out with the Skydio 3, what it's going to be capable of. I'll pre-order the day it happens. Take my money now, just based on everything that this drone has done for me already. You know, so I hope this, you know, if you have any additional questions, I should say, comment down below. I know this kind of glossed over everything and was just one of those, hey, you know, here it is type things. This is what I feel. And I think that's important. I didn't want to bore you with a lot of details and frame rates and all this other hullabaloo. I use this drone to track me. And when it comes to tracking, it's impeccable, okay? When Skydio, when it comes to their customer service, they're impeccable. And to me, that's a winning combination that shouldn't be ignored. So on that note, my friends, like, subscribe, bell notification icon. It's the trifecta we love so much here at Get Out Arizona. Helps out with the video, helps out with the channel. There's going to be links down below. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the devil's work. It's social media, but it's required, all right, to get the word out about Get Out Arizona, and you can keep up to our day-to-day affairs. We have group hikes, we have group rides, we have a lot of fun. We're an interactive group here. Well, I'm an interactive person, so if you want to come hang out, ask questions, any requests on toolbox topics, any of that stuff, that's where you're going to do it in the comment section down below, or our social media. There's going to be other links down below. They are affiliate links, but not an affiliate link for this, okay? If you follow one of those links, we receive a small commission, though you will not be charged any additional money. And that helps out with park passes, gas money, and coffee money. It's the other trifecta that we enjoy so much down here, or I should say here at Get Out Arizona. So, my friends, seriously, you can't go wrong. The Skydio 2 Plus. And at that, what do we say? Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards out on that trail. And we have to ask, what are you waiting for? Get Out Arizona. We'll see you on that next adventure. Take care, everybody.